Hello, hello everyone. It's time once again for another art stream. And since the animatic was pretty much, I'm getting water. The animatic was pretty much done last time. This time we're going to be working on title card, which I like to paint and color those. And yeah, that's the deal with it. I don't know if this will take me that long to do. So if I do finish it early, then we will do some Eldritchrune backgrounds, because always got to do those. But in the meanwhile, color time, something I don't get to do very often on stream. Although I wish my wrist was cooperating. Right now it's got the cold spots again, so I might have to be careful with that, which is annoying. Not the most fond of that, but we'll deal with it. Let's see. Let's do the background first. Actually, I don't know if I... paler blue, maybe? No. No. Trying to work out what color I'm making the sky and stuff here. No, not too purple. I'm gonna have to stick with that for now. You can always change it, probably change a little bit once we throw some overlay layers on it anyway, because that's usually how it goes. Anyways, I hope you all are doing well this weekend. Aside from my wrist being annoying, I am doing okay. At least gonna get to have fun dinner stuff tomorrow. A bit more oranges there. Do like trees in the background, stuff like that. Yes, this is for the animatic. I gotta do a title card for it. All pretty shiny stuff, so you'll click on it on the YouTubes. And apparently, graphic stuff with faces in the front looks pretty good. So I'm like, okay, well that can work out well with, you know, what I'm doing for this. Excuse me. Thank you for subscribing for another month. Oh my goodness, 27 months. That's crazy. Thank you. I super appreciate it. I'm glad you're having fun watching me do stuff on the draws. I have fun sharing it with you. Actually, maybe I should purple down a little bit. Do like a... I need to like do a little soft thing over this. Yeah, you're almost done. Backgrounds are complicated. This is not gonna be a hard background though. This is a pretty easy one. Pretty easy. Mostly the characters are front and center. And trees are just like plop, 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 plop. Actually, might be gonna throw like a blur on this or something, actually. Now that I think about it. It took a while. Sometimes that happens. When you're like, oh, I'll just do this, and it takes way longer than you expect. And you're like, oh, that took a little bit. That's okay, though. It's all the more satisfying when it's done. I gotta like not grip my pen too tight today, because again, the wrist is not feeling great, but we'll manage. A little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of color. I feel like color's not really my strong suit, so I'm always kind of feeling my way around. Like, some people can just do crazy good things with color. I'm jealous. Yeah, standing desks help. They do. Don't want to sit the entire time. What I do is, obviously you see me do it while I'm drawing here. I draw for like half hour increments. I draw for half hour increments at a time. And every half hour I get up and I stretch and walk around. That way I'm not sitting constantly. You know, I have a big window here. I try and look out my window so that rests my eyes a little bit to, you know, see something far away. And obviously do my stretches. Get yourself in the habit of, you know, getting up regularly so you're not stuck in shrimp pose for too long. Let's see. I'm going to try a little bit of a Gaussian blur. Not that much. Not that much either. Let's try 7. Maybe just 5. Really light Gaussian blur there. Yeah, I know. In the zone. You get stuck in the zone. But you gotta remember to take breaks. Set an alarm if you need to. Because you need to take care of your body. You need to take care of it. Let's do like a soft light here thing. Take care of your body. You gotta take care of your body, otherwise how can you draw things? Thank you. Okay, let's see. Well, yeah, soft light looks a little better, but we'll tone it down slightly like that. Okay. Alrighty. Character bases. Yay! This also gives me an excuse to do this kind of backlighting thing, which I always like doing. We'll do Noelle first. Yeah, I think. Zoom in. Zoom in. Our streams can be very, very therapeutic to watch. Let's, actually, I'm going to try and just, like, tackle this one little bit at a time. Ah! It helps if I do my heckin' flipping mask. Yay for fun art stream stuff. I feel like being able to like draw and entertain at the same time is a difficult skill. I don't know if it's really one I've caught yet, but if you enjoy watching and listening to me talk, that's worthwhile. Yes. Okay, I gotta check again. Seriously, I think I thought I turned ads off for like the first half hour. If it just turned them back on for me, I'm gonna be a little annoyed. Oh, I love it when this works. I love it. Yeah, I actually like the idea that you gave demo. I think I'm gonna go with that. I thought that was a sweet one. I thought it was sweet, so we're gonna do that. Because my own idea, I was like, I don't know if I like this that much, so I like that one. It was cute. Do we even have Domino's in Canada? I'm trying to remember. Probably. I just haven't paid attention because that's not what's nearby. Yeah, that one I thought was cute. I thought it was sweet and it worked. Let's see. I'm just mean to you. Well, as long as they don't show you something harmful. In that case, in which case I'll have words with Bezos, which I should anyway. Exactly. Make them work to find out what you want, and what you want is no ads. I have a line directly to Bezos, yes. The animatic has been fun to make. It's nice to do animatic stuff for myself. What? So I do it for work. So being able to be like, okay, I'm gonna determine, you know, how I direct this and how it all looks when it's done. That's a nice thing. I wish I want to do more animatic. Just mostly a matter of I need people to help me with music and sound, because that is areas where I struggle. Yeah. Yeah, this will be up on Halloween. Yep. Exactly. Let's see. Unless I'm kind of wondering how much shading I want to do. And if I want to just put down base colors first and then do shading later, that might be a little better. I'm not sure. Well, I need a new keyboard. That's what I need to get. I need to get like a really nice keyboard, because I feel like this one is just falling apart on me. Or too sticky. Doesn't respond. Does not respond to my every whim. Okay, keyboard should. Red Bull pastas. I'm excited because tomorrow's Canadian Thanksgiving. I gotta make some food. And we'll have noms with friends. I'm glad I'm actually doing stuff with friends lately, as opposed to like mostly when I moved here. I'm just like, well, I guess I'm not doing any Thanksgiving because I can't go home to do it for American Thanksgiving, and I don't have people to do it with here, so nice to do it with friends. Which I think the yellow's going down there. Yep, it is. Noelle, your hair is so bright. Noelle, with your hair so blonde. Will you go swimming in the pond? I don't know what I mean. Let's see. Yeah, excuse me, should be fun. Ooh, to the lurk corner to get your noms. Gotta get delicious noms. I just had breakfast, which was frosted flakes. Well, in the dark world, actually, her hair is brighter. She's got like lighter hair. It's slightly more whitish blonde than like corn blonde. She's got pretty bright hair in the light world. Yeah, it's a lighter color. With hair of gold. And Garrison's old. That's my rhyme. Yeah, I think I'll go back and do shading later. This. Daffodil, that's probably a good word for the color. That works out well, I'd say. Honestly, the pink is kind of a pink for her skin is honestly pretty good, decent for her ear right here. Yes, this will be fully painted because this is title card. Title card for the deal. The animatic will still be black and white because I don't have time to do all that. I ain't painting every single panel of the thing. That would be kind of ridiculous. In that case, I might as well just, I don't know, do full animation or something, just completely go all out. Well, I don't think my animation skills are as good. I don't know, I just haven't practiced as much. I gotta break out, you know, the old school stuff. Them principles of animation. You get kind of the same stuff storyboarding, but slightly different priorities. Let's see. Do a little slightly fuzzier there. Fuzzy. Fuzzy it up a bit. I think it would be nice to do a full color animation again sometime. I see people enjoy those, and I enjoy watching those too. Just so much work. Animation, so much work. Hello, hello, thank you for coming. Just realized that her sprite does not have her eyebrows. Girl, where are your eyebrows? Where are they? No, she does not have eyebrows in her sprite. Look at this right here. On her in-game model. Yeah, I'm putting them on her because, yeah, duh. But, on the sprite. Where are your eyebrows, girl? You maul the Susie. No, I'm not going to erase her eyebrows. She needs those. Susie's got eyebrows. You can see them over her eyes. Chris doesn't have them, but Susie has them. I think Birdley does too. Trying to briefly separate out the hair here just a bit. Let me see what's going on. No face, no well. Ah! Ah, it's getting weird and scary. Oh, I'll put some eyes on her and stuff like that. We'll do it, don't worry. She'll probably do like a slight bluish, and then that can make him pop a little more. Yeah, I'm sure they do actually do like as characters. I mean, like on the sprites. Wouldn't she need to be black, like monochrome black and white, in order to be a goner? I don't know. What's our lore on that nowadays? Actually, let's do a little bit of this. That sounds like a fake story. I'm sorry. That sounds like a cute joke. That sounds a little fake. Are you thinking of the I don't know, are you thinking of the picture of Jesus that was accidentally restored by somebody who was not an art restoration expert, was just restored by a layman? Is that what you're thinking of? But I say, if you're saying so, what was the art piece and what was the museum? You gotta give me details. What was the name of the art piece? What was the museum? Who was the artist? In today's day and age especially, you gotta beware of fake stories. Here's her bright red nose. Her slightly more brown eyebrows. Okay. What was the museum? We're gonna have to, I think we're going to put her eyelashes on later. That's going to come last, I think. Okay, thank you for details. Yeah, I'll put the eyebrows on later. Or put the eyelashes on later. And her little freckles. Actually, no, we should probably put those on last too. 1932. Sounds about right. If you want. Might be a bit before I get to it. Because we're working on this right now. She's so cute. Hopefully we can make her look extra cute. The cutie patootie. Can I say hi? I like how often like Toby's characters have buck teeth. I think that's cute. Quite a few of them do. Have you recreated Susie's sprite expression? Which sprite expression? She's got a lot of them. She's pretty expressive in terms of sprites. The one you have right now, just her default one? And I probably have at some point. Not sure when or where, but at some point. She's got a lot of them. Do her tooth. Her buck tooth. I probably should do that in the other thing. Okay, and Archer. Okay. I will look later. Yeah, Noelle's not smiling in her Dark World art, which is interesting. I kind of wonder if, like, in a later chapter that her expression will change, but we'll see. She's a bit more nervous about what's going on. bit more unsure. Okay, a lot of this is going to be us. Oh, her fingers, that's right. Especially in the weird route. I think she'd be very upset about what's going on. Supremely upset, even. Deeply dissatisfied with the events that are occurring. Right put out. I guess we'll see what happens with that in chapter 5. Oh, no. Chris will come out of the computer and kill us in real life if you do the weird route. Justified. There'll be some creepy thing that happens. Something creepy. Chris comes live with a hockey mask and hunts down weird root players. Just hockey stick in hand. Where the gun just points at your head. Trust me, it's real. My dad works at Toby Fox. Just a little bit like that. My uncle works at Fangainer. Video game high school. I haven't heard of that. Not heard of that one. Okay. I think before we move on, it's time to take a little stretch break. So we're getting through this. Susie is a goner until she's colored in with care, just like we were instructed. Oh no, black and white, that means she's a goner, she's a copy. That's what that means. Now we need Nine Inch Nails' copy of it playing instead of, Lost Girl. Oh, no, they both work. What did Lynx do with the real Susie? I've rescued her and now I'm feeding her properly. She's getting so much good food. All the ham sandwiches. I've also got a terrarium with her next to Alfie's terrarium. Yes, that's how it works. If something is black and white, it's a copy. That's the lore now. Your copies are proof this is a simulation. Ugh. Wait, does this mean I'm living in the simulation? Because I want out then. No, thank you, Matrix. No, thank you. Yes, I have rescued the Susies. Susie needs all the foods. Why are they not feeding the Susie in canon? Give her food. She's a growing teenage girl. She needs it. Unban her from Free Ham Sandwich Day. At least she got to eat the rest of the snack tray. Got that much from the holiday house. Alright, good luck being a volunteer. Go and Valentine to your heart's content. That's not a word. But I made it up anyway. Just like Dr. Seuss. Ugh. I wish my drawing arm was doing a little better today. It's being cranky. I'm a little worried that my attempts to exercise and make myself strong are bothering it again. I'm like, how? How am I going to be able to do it if I don't become strong? It's not fair. No, uh-oh, I've been clipped. I've been clipped. Also, I know Noelle Sprite doesn't have that kind of like, get clipped, idiot. Green leaf tomato. Oh, that's a lot. I'm sure Susie would like that. I'm sure she would eat all that up. And stuff that's not food. Any of it. Like, I know it's not in her Sprite to have, like, faded fur around the mouth, but I feel like that just makes sense in terms of character design. Alright, I will be right back for one more stretch and water and such. Alrighty, I'm back. Let's do some more. Do some more color. I'm gonna try a little bit of shady. Alright, let's do this. I'm just gonna focus on little I think they were called, good grief, what was this called previously? I should know what this is called. Ocular shading? That's not right. That's not correct. I'm not sure. Oh well. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Nice. Congrats on finishing. Always good to have that all done. Congratulations. I will share this once. Well, actually, this probably won't get shared until the actual thing is shared. But you know how it goes. Let's see. I can add a little bit to that. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. Should we do a little bit there? Okay. I'm going to have the sketch on at least a little bit. I'll turn it down slightly. Well, the fun part. I'm making the brush smaller. Opposite of what I want. Tone this down a little later. I never quite feel like coloring is my strong suit, but I'll try. Try my best. I gotta remember not to press too hard, because otherwise it's gonna bother my wrist. But I'm like, making papyrus noises about it. Papyrus, what are you up to? I know, coloring so hard for no reason. It's like trying to lean into, you know, a racing game when you're doing it. It's like, it's not going to make you actually turn faster. That's not how it works. It's like lightly, please, lightly. I mean, I guess it'd probably make a difference if I was doing it traditionally, but I'm not. I have my pen sensitivity set low for a reason. More vision actualization. Let's see. We're gonna turn this down, I think. And we're also going to... Hello? Good grief. Come on, pen. I think that's been a valuable learning experience, though. Even if, yeah, that can be frustrating. And you feel like, the gaps in my knowledge. I understand how that goes. And it can be tough, but it's also worthwhile to learn. That's good, that's good. No learning is ever wasted. Well, especially if it's been fun. You learn more when you're having fun, so that's the best kind of learning. That's an excellent kind. I know there's definitely new things I should practice, new techniques, all that kind of stuff. And I really should get back to doing some more traditional art. I've kind of been itching to. Just never have the time for it. I'm always busy with projects that involve the computer. But I might try and make some time for that over Christmas break, especially since I will not have my computer. So I'm like, maybe I'll get some new watercolor paper or something, and we'll try out some things over the break. All right, I'm gonna put another. I'm gonna put some more color shadow layers on top of this, but we'll do that after we finish Susie. And then we'll also go back and add in the details and stuff like that, like the outlines. For now, it's Susie time. We can get her down. The incredible power of Susie's. It's so weird, like, basically you don't really think about, how bright or not bright the colors are until, like, you actually start to color them in. It's like, oh yeah, these are like really bright colored sprites. Which works in a video game, but when you're like painting, it's like, oh my goodness, it's bright. They are just fully saturated. Works in a video game, but when you are color pulling for them, it's like, oh wow, oh, that's right. That's how it is. Like right now. Do like a little bit of dark color, I think. Just a little bit. Oh, that's fun. I used to do roleplay a lot. Now I don't have the time, so I don't do it. Well, that was how I made some really long-time fandom friends, was live journal roleplay back in the day. And then Dreamwidth when we all moved to Dreamwidth because LiveJournal kind of exploded. I mean, I guess technically it's still there, but, you know, kind of a shell of its former self. That was so fun. I enjoyed doing that. Again, I made some really, really long-term friends from that. Yeah, sometimes that's all you got time for, really. I think most characters, aside from like NPCs, because I did run some games back in the day. Or I ran a game back. Well, no, I moderated one game. And then I created and ran and moderated another game for a while. So I did play NPCs for that. But aside from NPCs, I think the most characters I played at once was probably 4. And even now, I'm like, good grief, how did I have time for that? That feels impossible nowadays. Oh, no, no. But it was really fun. I did enjoy it. Susie, I wish I could see your eyes better. I feel like they're supposed to be a brighter yellow. Or orange, whatever. Actually, probably... Yeah, actually, no, we'll do this. Try and do what we did with Noelle and make the eyes pop out a bit. I have beautiful golden eyes. What am I drawing? I am drawing the title card for the Suselle animatic that will be out on Halloween. Finally getting to do a little bit of color stuff. I don't do much color, so it's nice to do a little different. Nice to do a fun color thing. That'll be cute. Yeah, we'll also fill in her eyes later. She's gonna look a little weird without her eyeballs for a bit. But I want to use a different pen for that. Little teeths. I like it when she got little teeths poking out. Little teethies. Alright, and hair time. Hair time, hair time, hair time, hair time. Kind of makes sense her weapon's a hairbrush with how much of a tangle that probably is. I gotta brush it a bunch. Maybe your eyebrows same color too now I think about it. Yeah, if we finish the coloring on this early, I've got some backgrounds I can work on as always, but we'll see how far we get with the coloring. So I'm going to do a little foreground elements and mess with the lighting a bunch. All that goodness. I just like drawing happy Susie. I like seeing her happy. She deserves to be happy. Her smile defeated everything. Chris said so. Let's see. No, get rid of that. A little bit of that. Probably should put like a highlight on her hair too. Same with Noelle's. Probably do that next. Okay. Shading time. Let's do it. A bit more of a blue for her. Do you draw recreationally outside of streams and work? Yes. I'm constantly doing it. Perhaps to my detriment. Like that, most of what I'm doing, if I'm not doing work or this, is like, you know, the Eldritchrune. That's taking up a ton of time right now. And Anthrofractal also takes a lot of time. I was doing that yesterday. And etc, etc. I draw more than is probably good for me. Can't really help it. I know, I got the art disease. My wrist protests that, in fact. Big protest from my wrist. I just like being able to do stream stuff because it's like, okay, then I can share a little bit of what I'm working on. But what I do on stream is not the only time that I'm working. If you do catch a case of art disease, just be careful and take care of yourself. Don't be like me. Don't hurt yourself. Yeah, it's a little bit tough sometimes because it's like, okay, this is both my hobby and my job. I stream Eldritchrune all the time. What are you talking about? I mostly stream Eldritchrune. That's what I. This has been a break from that. I try not to post too. I try not to stream certain things, but most of what I've been streaming has been Eldritchrune. Yeah, I was trying to work on this animatic on the stream because this is a break from Eldritchrune. Wait, no, you stopped by the stream yet. Okay, it was a week ago. Okay. Normally I'm doing Eldritchrune. Okay, I thought you had been by previously. Yeah, this is a break from the usual. And again, if I finish this early, I'll probably pop back over to a bit of Eldritchrune backgrounds. But no, normally, because that's the big project I'm working on, most of what I've been doing on stream has been Eldritchrune. I try not to spoil too much of it, but sometimes stuff gets spoiled. If you're paying attention. I'm honestly debating, like, I might, because I have been working on the ending stuff on stream a bit. I'm considering, like, maybe the last 5 parts or something, just not streaming anything spoilery from that, because that might spoil stuff too much. Because that's, like, the ending of it. It's, like, it's going to be, like, 20 parts long, so it's going to be pretty lengthy. But, I might save the last 5 parts of that for, no, you don't get to see what happens. You'll have to find out. It helps because usually when I'm streaming it, like, you can't see the dialogue, so you don't know the context of it as much. Yeah, the last 5 parts of the ending is probably going to be too visually obvious. So, we'll avoid that. We'll avoid that. That's still a long ways off. I'm still in, like, the first half of the ending. Oh, the revenge of the original Starwalker. Shouldn't have ignored them. I have quite a bit of it planned out. There's still stuff, like, the ending is all planned out. The ending is written. The ending is written in the process of being drawn. I've got, aside from the ending, I've got about 7 parts where I'm like, okay, these are scenes I want to do. So I'm going to draw those. Like, the one I'm currently working on is the Tenna boss fight. So that's in the works. And then there's a couple other scenes I'm like, okay, I really should make sure I draw this just because this is story relevant, or this is a scene I want to do because it'll be interesting. So I've got 7 of those. There might be more that pop up before the ending as well. We'll see. And I know I should do more little small things, especially for, like, stuff that's probably not going to get a comic, like Weather Duo or anything like that. So, ending is definitely planned out, and more stuff is also planned out. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to drop brush. So yes, quite a bit of it's planned out. It's not all written necessarily, but again, I got about 7 scenes where I'm like, okay, this is a scene I want to do. This is what will happen in that scene. And those scenes take me quite a while to do, so that's why it's such a long break in between parts. Especially because I'm like, okay, the Tenna boss battle, that's going to be 18 pages again, 2-parter. So, and it's a boss fight, so that always takes a little longer. That's just how it be. It's in process, it just takes a while. I'm not quite sure if I like that. No, I do not. got some friends to do voice acting. Again, everyone say thank you, Lee, for doing voices and the music and sound effects. All right, I'm softening this edge a bit. Hello, hello, thank you for coming. Okay. Now, well, it's almost time for my break. We're going to do next shading. Because these are mostly behind a backdrop. Let's see. Gradient. Well, helps if we do this. Thank you. Let's apply. Not quite that heavy. There we go. This is supposed to be kind of taking place. They're kind of in shadow. Hello, hello, thank you for coming. I'm gonna lighten up the eyes a little bit. Thank you for coming. We are coloring in this animatic. Bleh, I can't talk. Why are words escaping my brain? Title card. We are coloring in this title card. And that is going pretty decently. Okay. Susie's gonna look creepy with her glowing eyes until we add them in. But now, it is stretch break time. I hope Susie has glowing eyes in real life. That would be cool. And Noelle would think they are cool too. I also gotta do the front part that's also largely in shadow. We should do that. But yes, we're doing a stretch break real quick because I gotta take care of my wrist. Because it's been a little cranky lately. I've been back at work. No, she has yellow eyes. Because she is dragon. Okay, but imagine if Susie gets the soul in a later chapter, her eyes turn red. That would be cool. It's not letting it follow you. Not letting you follow me. That's weird. You should be able to do that. It's too very Susie likes light shine in the darkness. That's me, dumbass. True, that's basically the Jackenstein fight. I love how dumbass is just kind of Susie's pet name for people, especially Chris now. Dumbass. Naomi's superhero's brother. Eat dinner. Food is good for you. Do it. No. Oh. That was not quite me, but I knew kids that were that picky back in the day where it's like you refuse to eat anything but chicken nuggets and stuff like that. That's a admittedly tough thing to deal with. Oh yeah, especially if like you're autistic, then yeah, you've got this sense about, no, I want this one food because this, I know what this is, and I don't want to go outside of that one thing. I mean, I'm I'm in some ways I'm the same way. Like I was an extremely picky eater when I was a little kid. I did not want to eat a lot of foods. I've gotten a little better as I've gotten older. Yeah. Oh, that's hard. That's really hard. I've gotten a little bit better as I've gotten older, but I'm still definitely in the realm of like, I want this food. Like, I literally like make the same thing for dinner on Saturday nights and then have leftovers for that for like 2 other nights out of the thing. Like that's been this way for years. I have not gotten sick of this one meal that I make for myself like every Saturday night. It's always this one meal. I've been doing it for years, and like because I really like the routine and I like this food, etc. etc. You know, so I get it. I get that sense of, you know, this is the thing I want to have because like just reasons. I was very picky. Again, I'm a little better now. I'm a little bit more willing to try some new things. Not my prep. Like people would probably still call me, you know, way too picky. Like I still want plain hamburgers. I don't like anything on my hamburger. I want just meat in the bun. And that's like a little kid thing. But I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I don't want things on my hamburgers. But I'm a little better than I was when I was a kid. But I do understand it's hard to get people to eat stuff when you're in that sense. Yeah, too much mixed flavor. I don't really like my foods mixed together that often. That's why I'm really not much of a sandwich or person. I'm like, ugh. You know, I like cheese pizza, only cheese pizza, but I don't like cheese on a lot of other things. So, just weird things that, you know, a normal person or whatever would be like, well, how did you like that? And I'm like, I don't want it. I don't like it. But I don't know. Keep trying different things. Maybe you'll get lucky with, you know, something that's not Burger King, something that's a regular healthy food that, you know, your brother likes. Like for me, it was green beans. I was introduced to green beans early and discovered, oh, I like green beans. This is a vegetable that I like. So I eat a lot of green beans still, but, you know, it is at least a vegetable that I can cook for myself that I like and that is, you know, good for me. And I'll eat other vegetables too, but green beans are my favorite. Ah, quesadillas. That's what my brother liked a lot. Alright, I will be right back for one more stretch and orange juice and stuff like that. ready. I'm returning. Ah, fried crickets, huh? You got gifted sub notifications. Holy cow. And yay, thank you for following. Sorry I was away doing my stretch. I gotta do regular stretches or else it's bad for my wrist. Make sure you stretch. So I got crickets for Alfie's, but I've never tried one myself. I don't think I would try one of her crickets because they are alive. Please fry them or put them in like a dough or something first. I think it's the texture that would get to me. Oh wait, why is this at 50%? Let's turn that up a little bit. Post meat cyberpunk world. Tastes like peanut butter. Huh. That may or may not be a go for me, because I like peanut butter, but I don't like crunchy peanut butter. I don't like it being peanutty. I like it when it's more smooth peanut butter. Ugh, yeah, the legs are big. Maybe I'll just save the crickets for Alfie. She's the one who likes them the most. As soon as she sees me like pulling out the little tub for her cricket, she's like, and will immediately sit up and pay attention. She loves her bug. And I know it's a good source of protein in terms of like bang for your buck. Doesn't take much room to raise them, and you still get good protein. But I don't know how well I deal with the texture of it. I would need ways around that. Weird, because I'm a West Coast person. I don't like crunchy. The only way I like crunchy peanuts is on like Thai food. Otherwise, I don't really like crunchy peanuts. Try a half-human Sans without a jacket or gloves, wearing a skeleton t-shirt. He's still gonna be skeleton. He's just gonna be Sans wearing a skeleton t-shirt. Because that's what I think is going on with him. Like, I think he's half human as well. People are like, "Who do you think Sans is half human?" Yes, he just looks like that. Yeah, he does have arms. But, like, they're skeleton arms. Otherwise, we need a revolution. I think when people be like, "Oh, I don't want to eat bugs," it's like, I don't think we're going to replace all meat with bugs. You get, like, bugs as an option, not as, and you have to eat bugs. I know, she looks scary without pupils. Don't worry, we'll get back to her. Came back to get jump scared. Don't worry, we're gonna add them. But first we gotta do the thing. Like, I'm sorry, half human Sans, who just has a skeleton thing. There he is. I am Sans Undertale. Go into my eye. Yeah, I don't think anybody's asking, you to replace beef or whatever. It's just like, hey, here's an option that's, maybe it's the way you're dressed. Maybe it's the way you're dressed. All that stuff. Okay, I gotta put his slippers on at least. Well, Sans is really spoke to me. I can't do the voice properly. But no, what I always found interesting in terms of like the aren't you gonna eat beef thing is the show Sequest, which if I had time and infinite money, I would do like a video essay or something on. So I haven't seen anybody talk about Sequest, but that was the show I watched, you know, like with my parents a lot when I was little. And one this is supposed to be like, you know, the somewhat near future. Yeah, Sequest. It's basically Star Trek underwater. And it's supposed to be like the near future, and like, you know, we're doing Star Trek, but we're doing it underwater. No, he's just a skeleton. There. That's what I said would happen. And, basically the whole point is that this is the future, and like a bunch of geopolitical stuff has changed. And one of the things they did was outlaw beef because, you know, it was causing climate change too much. So they pretty much outlawed beef. So beef is kind of like this, or real beef, basically. The bean. Yep, there's a Kanako. So real beef has been outlawed, but they have synthetic meat instead. So they're using synthetic meat, synthetic beef instead. And you know, there's a you can live without beef. I would be fine with synthetic beef, honestly, if they got it to work, if they got it to taste the same as like regular beef. I'm like, yeah, I can deal with that. But what I always found interesting was this one episode where, like, basically one of the characters on the submarines is, like, going to smuggle in some real beef from Argentina, you know, because we haven't had real beef in so long and it's not the same. And the adults are like, oh, yeah, you know, real cooking hamburger kind of thing. And the kid, this was played by, what's his name, who's sadly passed away. The kid, Lucas, is like, ew, you guys are eating a dead cow? Ugh. Like, is grossed out by the idea because he wasn't raised with real beef. And I find that kind of like interesting in terms of like, you know what, that's probably what would happen. Just give yourself like 1 or 2 generations of kids that aren't raised with that, and they would think it's weird. Like, they would just think it's weird. It wouldn't take that long. Same steps as dead animal, but it's not like you killed an actual animal. You just grew it from, like, you know, cells, I guess. Actually, before I do this, I should probably do some, a little bit of highlights on the hair. Just a bit. And, like, don't get me wrong, I do like beef. But I don't like climate change. So, if we can find a way to do beef without, you know, having to raise and kill a cow, thumbs up for that. I'm like, yeah, sounds good. I'd be down with that. Wait, what? Okay, apparently I gotta make this a little bit lighter. Why is this looking so bad? Okay, apparently I really need to up this. Is it not gonna work unless I... it's okay, I guess. I don't know if I really like that. I have to do it on top. Might have to do it on top. Ugh. I guess we'll see how that goes. I imagine that, like, there's so much industry wrapped up in it, I don't think we're ever going to completely get rid of it. Like, one of the men that my grandma was married to, remarried after my grandpa died, worked in the beef packing industry. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure there's always going to be a demand for it because, well, for one, it's tasty, and two, it's good. It is good for you. Protein's good for you, but it's not necessarily sustainable at the way we've been doing it. And I'm pretty sure if we're smart, we'll find good alternatives. I don't have beef that often myself. I mostly just use chicken or fish, eggs, shrimp, stuff like that. I don't usually make beef or pork for myself. Yeah, I've heard that's the main problem. It's like, okay, yeah, you can get the cells, and you know, replicate them and stuff like that. But the problem is the meat is not just cells that are replicated. Like, at least to my understanding, the problem they were running into is that they would need to find a way to exercise it to actually like make it move and make it into muscle fibers, because it is the use of the muscle that makes it a muscle. You got to actually exercise it, otherwise it's just bleh. Can't do fish well. I like fish overall. I like salmon. I like fish tacos, tilapia. Yeah, I don't think it would really work if you treated it like a bacteria, because that's not how meat works. I'm sure that they would find a way to do it if they put some effort and stuff into it, but you can't really grow it like a culture. That's not going to be the same. All right, give a little bit of volume to her hair, and then we'll go back to the line. Yeah, that's a problem. You gotta make it cheap. Gotta make it cheap. Because otherwise, what's the point? People will just go for what's cheaper. Basically, my main point is I am willing to try synthetic meat if they can really get it, working well. Again, I am down with being able to have beef without killing a cow and making it take up a lot of space to grow the cow and stuff like that. Or honestly, a thing we might need to do is actually have people hunt for meat again rather than keeping it all in factory farming, because that's part of the problem is, these things are kind of removed from the natural ecosystem. We've got, big giant roaming herbivores that, we've hunted for meat for a while. And the cows, they're not, bad for the ecosystem in of themselves. They, contribute as well to as large-scale herbivores. Clearly we need those. But being cooped up in a factory farm doesn't really help the ecosystem or the cows. I don't know if I've had a Boca burger. My problem is, given the choice, I also will still have a real hamburger rather than like a Beyond Beef burger. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if we let them grow in the wild, we would have to have less of them, is the thing. No, I don't think... Yeah, I don't know if we could... You can't just, release cows in the wild and be like, good luck! Like, that wouldn't work. I mean, we have, natural, large, roaming herbivores, water buffalo, stuff like that. Yeah, it would become a luxury item, that's true. I'm not sure on the solution. But no, you can't really undomesticate something that's been domesticated. But basically, it basically turns into a different animal, the pigs that are released and go feral, they're basically not the same as, domestic pigs. And feral, even then, is not the same thing as wild. So, PETA is wrong. It doesn't work to be like, well, just release. There should be no pets or domesticated animals. Put them back in the wild. You can't do that. Yeah, we don't want a repeat of what happened with the bison. Although apparently the bison are, despite everything, making more of a comeback. Because they're native tribes are trying to protect them, which is good. Basically, we need space for humans and we need wild spaces. They're both important. That's pretty cool. I don't know. I don't know how you would engineer something to be wild. I feel like a large part of that is like them, you know, adapting to the environment. So you kind of just gotta, you know, put them out there and hope they do okay, which may or may not happen. Yeah, that's true. It would take time. That's not nice either. Cows are nice animals. They are tasty, but they are also like, you know, nice, smart animals. I like cows. Let's see. We're gonna do a little bit of rim lighting on this. A plot of a killer cow sci-fi movie. Yeah, again, I do like eating beef. Beef is tasty, but cows are sweet. Honestly, I'm hard pressed to find an animal I don't like, though. They're so big. Yeah, as like a city dweller, you don't really realize just how honking huge like domesticated farm animals are. Cows are huge. Pigs are huge. Turkeys, they're huge. They make big old animals. They're huge. They're big. They're big guys. Especially like pigs. I think pigs fool people a lot because people think that like, oh, you know, pigs are, you know, they think of like babe, you know, little piglet babe. Whereas pigs are like as closer to size as like cows. Like even boars are like domesticated pigs. They're huge. They are the size of cows. And yeah, when I was last time I was in Italy, I was visiting with a friend who lived next door to a farm, like a personal farm. And this farm had turkeys, and the turkeys were really big. Those were big ass birds. Really big birds. So turkeys get really huge too. Yeah, I haven't been on that many farms myself. Seen a couple things here and there, but that's not the same as, like, you know, being raised on a farm. I'm a little suburbanite kid. You see those guys at like petting zoo, stuff like that. I mean, agriculture is interesting, for sure. It's basically the crux of civilization, so gotta be interesting in some form. Oh no! Ouch! Ooh! Ouch! That's painful. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, suburban instead of suburban. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard it pronounced suburban. That sounds a little homestuck, suburban, which I know is kind of the point, but... Oh no, poor baby chicks. That stinks. Little babies, they can be little tender. Finally, she has eyelashes. Oh yeah, they always make, the funny thing is they always make it sound like suburban is like, you know, its own thing, but it's definitely supposed to be, you know, outside the city, suburban. No, I was raised in suburbs. Now I would say I live in a city. I like living in a city, actually. I think I'm lucky because there's a park right nearby, so I can go anytime I want. In fact, I'll go today and, you know, get my good dose of nature. But I like being really close to a lot of, you know, convenient things. And ironically, I feel pretty safe in the city, too. I've never really worried about anybody, like, coming to get me or whatever. Yeah, I think I've got a few Instrument Maniac ones on here. Living in a city, definitely convenient, at least. There she is. Alright, now we will focus on giving poor Susie some stuff here. Let's see. Alright, let's repeat the, get the orange over here, that bright orange. I'm trying to take that off for now, actually. I discovered I like doing like really bright outlines on top of colored stuff. Feels fun. I've seen a little bit of like country stuff as well, like my dad's parents. They didn't really live on a farm or anything like that, but they did like live in the country. Very isolated. I don't think I could do it myself. I think that would feel a little too weird for me. Okay, let's give poor Susie some eyes here, so she's not looking too weird. My eyes! Yeah, too quiet and cut off. Yeah, seriously. It's like, sure, the country's nice, but there's literally a boba place around the corner from me. She has special eyes. She does. Gotta put her freckles on, too. I'll give this a little bit of a purple pop. A purple pop. I don't want it to blend in with her skin too much, though. Actually, I don't know if I really like her with the eyelashes. I think I might take those out. Be gone! Be gone! Oh man, there was something going on late last night. There was a fire truck rolled up by in the street near outside my window, and I was like, what is that? I don't know. I'm gonna go back to sleep, and I guess they resolved it because it was gone, and fire alarm didn't go off, so it's not a fire. Actually, yeah, maybe we could do that next. I feel like I also give her eyes a little bit more of a shiny shine. Everybody likes shiny dragon eyes. Dragon eyes! Dragon eyes me captain. It's not what that means. Now she's not going to look quite so weird. She looks a little bit more normal. They get to be cute together. Let's see. A little bit of her teeth. Her little pokey teeth. Is there anything else I'm missing? I need to give her freckles. Yeah. Let's give more of a bright yellow. See if that helps pop it out a little bit. Might be a bit too much, actually. Maybe just in the corner like that. And now we gotta give her freckle. Have freckle. How does a reptile have freckles? Because. Okay. Actually, a little bit more under the tooth. When am I supposed to stop for my break again? Yep. That's how it happened. She got the freckles from the human side. Is she scaly? She's purple girl. True. Purple girl. I do find it interesting that, like, nobody seems to specify her species, aside from, like, the draconian kind of implications. Like, people call her the girl, purple girl. Prophecy calls, like, even though, yeah, Ralsei's prophecy says, yeah, she's a monster. Actual prophecy is like, she's the girl, she's a purple girl. Birdley doesn't know what her species is. He's like, this is bird to human, no Susie's allowed. I'm like, what? She's like, nobody's calling her a dragon or a reptile, even though that's, again, the draconian implications are there through a number of things, but nobody actually calls her like a dragon or a reptile in the light world. No, perhaps not. But, like, you know, they definitely will make allusions to, like, okay, yes, you know, Noelle is a reindeer. The Kattenheimers are cats. Birdley is a bird. And if there's anything that Susie would look like, okay, she looks like a dragon type monster. And we have other allusions to like draconian stuff, but nobody really says anything about that for her in real life. That is true. The dreamers are actually probably closer to dragons than they are to goats. Like, we all call them goats, but they're actually probably more like dragons. Just a specific kind of dragon. But I'm trying to remember what specifically kind of dragon it is. I know there's a certain kind of dragon that has the more goat-like features, that's furry, that has the paws and stuff like that, like fluffy dragons. I don't remember if there's really a certain, like, name for it, but yeah, the dreamers are actually kind of closer to dragons than they are goats. A lynx griffin, perhaps. Oh. No, they're not griffins. They are definitely a kind of dragon. Alright, now we're going to do the foreground. Actually, what I probably should do is do my stretches, then we'll work on the foreground. Kind of. They're not exactly a Chinese dragon, though, either. I think that it's more of it's a Western dragon, but it's not the traditional Western dragon. Like, I almost want to say like a Norwegian dragon or something, but yeah, literally, like, it's a kind of dragon that has the more goat-like features. They're fluffy, they have the long ears, but they also have stuff like, paws and horns and, like, the sharp teeth. And they also have stuff around fire. The dreamers, have fire abilities. Yeah, maybe a drake for Susie. But I want her to get cool wings if she does a transformation after she gets the soul. That's what I want. Then she can get cool wings and be kaiju-sized and all the other cool stuff. Proper dragon. Yeah. So dreamers, also their own kind of dragon. But yeah, it's true. Nobody really identifies them by their species. They're just monsters. That is true. They do got the fluff. But I swear, I'm just trying to remember what region this type of dragon originates from, because it literally is like, it's kind of closer to like the luck dragon from, Neverending Story, which has both scales and fur, but also has kind of the more mammalian face, the long ears, stuff like that. That is a kind of dragon. But I do think it's interesting that I would definitely say Susie looks more like a traditional dragon than the dreamers do. She's got the face for it. She's got a tail, short as it is. And she's clearly excited by the prospect of being compared to the dragon in, Dragon Blazers. But nobody seems to really associate her with dragon in the real world. I'm kind of wondering, do they ever say in canon if Susie has scales? Like, you kind of assume that, she would, but I don't know if it's ever mentioned that she has scales. Yeah. Combines the animation and visual data of the two parents. Gotta be something in that. I like scales, but yeah, I don't think it's ever mentioned in canon that she has scales. And even then, there are different kinds of scales and stuff like that. Like, yeah, drawing her freckles as chunkier scales is fun. Like, there was kind of more like plate mail scales. Like, some reptiles have scales that kind of feel more like plate mail, whereas like Alfie's, she has scales, but her plating on those is very soft. She feels more kind of like a beanbag, like she's not very it's pretty soft scales. It's not very sharp or hard. So there's a variety of scales that you can have with that, but I do imagine it might. Well, then again, on the other hand, it could be. I bet you if you have scales, it feels really good to shed. Let's take a big piece of that off. Yes, real life Alfies, not the character. My lizard, my bearded dragon. So, sorry for the confusion. Then again, maybe it is annoying to shed. Alfie's always looks a little uncomfortable when she's shedding. No, I agree with that pie point. I think one of the reasons why Susie is really into, like, kaiju monsters and, like, being a dragon in Godzilla is because of body dysmorphia from being mixed race, and that she wants to lean into being a monster as much as possible. That, like, you know, Chris wants to be a monster as well to fit in, and she wants to be a monster just to be as monster as possible. None of this human stuff, because that's only caused her trouble. So that's why she's really into, like, you know, kaijus and Godzillas and big dragons and just, like, the most monster you can be. That's appealing to her. Alright, I'm going to be right back for one more stretch and all that stuff, and then we'll work on the foreground. Alrighty, I am back. More lizards, hooray! Yeah, but basically, I feel like if there's an experience that Chris and Susie share, it's this feeling of, I wish I was more monster. Like, obviously Chris wants that to fit in with, you know, their family. And all that goodness. I do find it very interesting that, you know, Susie sees the photo on the fridge of, like, oh, why are you wearing those horns? Were you trying to? And then she gets quiet and she's like, oh. Like, she absolutely gets what Chris was doing by that. This feeling of, oh, I have to change part of myself in order to, you know, belong better with where I live. That is too familiar to her. Too real. You know what? That's exactly what I think too. That's exactly what I think too. Is people be like, wait, what? Well, if Susie's half human, that means Sans is too, as if that's impossible. And there's something else that's been on my mind. And that is, how is Sans going to get in the good graces of the fun game in the time we have left? Because if we are to assume that, you know, Sans is from Deltarune in Undertale, and he has like all of these photos and, you know, the drawing of that says "Don't forget" on it. The implication there. Do you think Sue's having to call herself human? No, I don't think so. She is not passing, I would say. She doesn't look it. But, the implication is that, you know, Sans was on really good terms with everybody in Deltarune, that he was actually friends with the Fun Gang, that it is a tragedy that he cannot get back to these people, that he misses them. And right now, that doesn't seem to be the case. We're halfway through the game, and Sans has barely, you know, interacted with other people in the town. Most he's done is that he's, you know, hooked up with Toriel, obviously. And we're at a point now where, like, half the fandom wants to kill him. He is not in their good graces. He's never met Ralsei. At best, Chris and Susie think that, you know, he's obnoxious. At worst, he's a homewrecker. So I'm like, how is this guy, you know, who clearly is not paying very good attention to what's going on with, you know, these people that he supposedly is friends with and misses, how is that going to get turned around in the time we have for that? And I'm like, you know what? You know what could work? Especially if we have a scene where, you know, this thing with Susie gets revealed in front of everybody, especially by Carol, in an effort to isolate her from everybody, because Carol does not want Susie in on whatever her plans is and just wants to hurt her, and does this as like a big, you know, again, a big reveal to basically try and drive Susie out and isolate her. Then all you need is like one conversation with Sans where he, you know, catches her and he's like, hey, don't tell anyone else, but I'm half human too. Just so you know, like, you're not alone. You're gonna be fine. Don't abandon your friends. They still care about you, kind of thing. Like, hey, you know, you're just a kid. You're gonna be okay. Just like something that has a point of reference where, like, hey, Susie is not isolated in this sense. Just one quick conversation with Sans could be enough to completely, like, turn her opinion of him around. And then, that in turn is gonna, you know, put Sans in a better position in Chris's book because, you know, you do right by Susie, and Chris likes that. I don't think that anyone would really care if she was, like, definitely Noelle won't. I don't think most people would, but depending on how that's shown to us, I don't think Susie would give herself the chance to find out that people are okay with it. I think she would literally just, like, run off and, like, be upset and hurt and run off before anybody has a chance to, like, counter Carol on that, because that is what she is used to. She is used to, like, this being used to hurt her. So she would have to have somebody rope her back in and being like, hey, actually, you know, people are not mad at you. They don't care. Your friends like you, basically. That's not important to them. But I think she's going to she will isolate herself from other people, like, before that can happen, because that is how she has protected herself so far. Yeah, I think she has definitely been discriminated against it in the past, and that's why she's like, I can't deal with this. You know, I was just starting to make friends with people. Basically, just like taking Carol's, you know, attempt to hurt her and then just running with it before anybody else can step in and be like, hey, who cares? Like, we don't care if you're half human, you're Susie. I mean, obviously, like, Noelle's not going to care. Chris is not going to care. Toriel's not going to care. I don't think Birdley will care. Maybe some of the other kids will be like, huh, what? Like, they'll be a little weirded out. But I don't think that's going to be like, ew, we're going to discriminate against you kind of thing. But I think that's what Susie... Yeah, Snowy might care, but Snowy's an asshole. Like, who cares what he thinks? He's already a racist. Just Snowy's the one, like, Snowy, you can't say that. I don't know. I think that Carol might be more subtly racist than we've been led to believe. I think she might actually be using that as part of her manipulation against Chris. I think she might be leaning into a bit of Chris's own self-hatred. Because Chris has this self-hatred going on, that's driving them into self-destruction. That's part of their big problem. I think she might be exasperating that. Not overtly, but subtly. I don't think she hates humans, but, like, racism is not like, oh, I hate you, or I love you. Like, there's a scale of, like, oh, I don't hate you, but you're naturally this way, and that's just not okay, kind of thing. But I know you can do better. Like, I don't think she hates humans, no. But I can see her being, like, leaning into it in order to manipulate Chris. Let's see. I feel like there's more I've got going on here. Like that is something I can see happening. But yeah, I think the point of Sans also being half human is not just because, oh, that's just weird. I feel like that would be there as a character point to help connect him with the Fun Gang, because right now he is way outside their circle. They do not like him. And that's got to turn around real fast. And that could happen some other way. That's certainly not the only way it could happen. But I feel like it kind of needs to happen before the end of the game if we're to believe that he is from Deltarune. And again, this is a tragedy that he misses his friends he's made in this universe. So, something's got to give there. Because right now, again, half the fandom's ready to kill him. We don't got much time to turn it around. But I think that kind of thing could turn it around quickly. Again, if you do right by Susie, then you're good in Chris's book, too. And Noelle would probably be in the same position of that as well. Whoa. Ooh. Yeah, a nice switch up from 2015. No, Snowy's not given much focus, just, his whole thing at the church of, like, what, do humans not have a sense of humor? And MK's kind of like, Snowy, you can't say that. No. Like, Snowy, that's racist. Like, that's the thing with racism. It's not like, I hate you. Like, racism exists in many different forms, and it doesn't have to necessarily involve just plain hate. It is the general assumption that, this group of people is going to act or behave this certain way. When that is not true. When people are individuals. Get the candle in here. Probably have to do another shadow pass on this. Yeah, exactly. It's the idea that humans are not like us. For good or ill. Like, what I can see, especially depending on what happened with Chris and Des, which I suspect involves some kind of violence, because that's hanging over Chris's head, is Carol leaning into this whole idea of, oh, Chris, it wasn't your fault. You're a human. They're just naturally more violent than us monsters. But I know you really didn't mean it. I know that you'll make it right. You are going to make it right, aren't you, Chris? Like, I can see Carol leaning into that in order to manipulate Chris. And Chris just buying it hook, line, and sinker. Because there's something going on with Chris wherein, like, I find it interesting that, like, in the sword route, Ram is being like, oh, this is a game where you have freedom, Chris. You're not locked into things. Finally, you're free. But the only thing they can do in the sword route is kill things. Why does Chris have this association with the only way to express my autonomy is through violence? There is something about that hanging over their head. Oh, this is art club, where we make pictures and don't kill each other. something about that is really hanging over Chris, is really bothering them, I think. And I get the sense that Carol is leaning into that in order to get what they want from Chris. You know, the cage with human soul and parts got to play their part in the prophecy. And that part of it is that Chris is going to have to, you know, find a way out of that. It's being like, no, you are not bound to, you know, any one role that anybody supposedly gives you. You can't choose who you are, but you can choose how you act, kind of thing. So that's how all that ties together, I would say. Could be wrong. It could go in very different directions. No, I think the prophecy is correct. I think she is the girl with hope crossed on her heart. I don't think that's secretly Noelle. I think that is supposed to be her. What I would say is that, like, I don't think that being half human gives her any special powers. It doesn't give her any super magic. It doesn't make her, you know, super strong or anything like that, or more determination or whatever. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's how it works. I think if it does anything special... No, Noelle's got hope. She's just not in the prophecy in that way. Maybe a different way. But, what was I saying? But basically, I think the only way that, like, that would play a part is if, like, for some reason, like, it's a loophole where basically, like, no, the soul can only be in a cage with human parts. And then, like, Susie basically loopholes her way through that in order to get the soul. It can maybe go it that way. I don't think being half human is going to give her special powers. I don't think that's how it works. She's just a kid. She's just a kid who is doing her best. Especially since, at least so far, it doesn't seem like monsters have any particular determination, like, issues compared to humans. Like, they're not less determined. It seems like determination is the same across the board. Noelle's got hope, but she's just, she's dealing with a lot. They better be nice to Noelle in the end. Let her get her hot girlfriend. Yeah, she's pretty big and strong. That's what always got me about, like, you know, I wasn't even picked for Jim. I'm like, what do you mean you weren't picking the big, strong, you know, buff girl for Jim? You fools, what are you doing? What do you mean she was picked last for Jim? No way. She is strong. I know. Well, you know what? Don't mess with the power of social ostracization. It's powerful stuff. It'll mess with you. It'll mess with you good. You know what? I need to see Megamind. Good grief. I've only seen, like, little scenes from it here and there. I need to actually sit down and, like, watch the whole movie. Megamind scenario going on. Okay, I'm gonna add a little extra shadow here. I know, I haven't seen Megamind. Isn't that crazy? I'm crazy. Crazy and overdramatic. No. I think Susie's just been dealing with, like, tons and tons of social ostracization her whole life. Especially since it seems like it was not just coming from... I know, I've heard it's good. I need to see it. Especially since what gets me, I'm like, this was not just coming from, like, kids her age. This was coming from the adults. The adults were also being cruel to her, and I'm like, what was going on with that? Okay. Oh my gosh, I think this is almost done. I think it's almost done. Whoa! Do a little bit more highlight on the candle, actually. A bit more orange. That's also kind of a thing that makes me think, okay, there was something unique going on with Susie. That was not just her being raised in a human town. I don't think if she was just a monster being raised in a human town, all of the adults in her life would have also treated her like crap. Because otherwise, that does not paint a good picture of humans in general, which I think we're trying to steer away from in this. At least that was the impression I got from the 10th anniversary stream. Oh my goodness, is this done? Almost done? Almost done? I think so. I think I need to do... I think this would be a good eye-catching, like it's going to have the title over it as well. Hope this will be a good eye-catching, thumbnail. If we put it down to like this size. Let's do an overlay layer over this stuff. We got an overlay. Wasn't too tricky of a thing. Let's see. Should work for the anime, just like a cute, sweet moment with them. Halloween color. Okay, do a little central overlay. That's a bit too much, so we'll knock that down. Okay, 33%. What's that? Yeah, that adds a little bit of pop. What do you guys think? How does it look? How's it looking? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to do. Just in terms of making something pop, making sure the colors are okay. Very bright, vibrant. Yay, thank you. I like doing stuff with bright color. I don't get to do it often enough. Cute, cute, thank you. Thanks so much. Oh, thank you. Again, I'll add the title on top of that, so that'll be for the final. We'll do that later, though. But it's nice to have just like the actual art saved elsewhere. Yay! Good grief, I forgot when I took my last break. So, yay! Color is done for that. Which means I'm debating like maybe going back and doing a little like camera blur stuff on the actual animatic, but otherwise I think it's done. Merge all layers and add gauge and blur. I already added gauge and blur to the background. I already did that. No, I'm not gonna gauge and blur the whole thing. I will not do it. Unless I just copy paste it, and then we can do that. Here. Just for you. Just for you. Here we go. Here comes the gauge and blur. Let's bump it up to 50. Ah, no! Blurry. Real. Blurry. Glasses. No glasses. Glasses. No glasses. Alright, we're done. Astigmatism, yeah. That's how astigmatism sees the world. Oh no. Okay, since we just stopped with this, I'm going to take a stretch break. And then I think what we'll do is pop over and work on backgrounds a little bit for Eldritchrune, since I also have that to do. I always got that to do, but first, stretch, break, and all that. Yay! Let's, here, we can look at this. Since it's all done at 100%. It looks extra realistic, but only if you roleplay squinting. Oh, that's cool. Art for a card set, that'll be fun. I'm still waiting for the day. I feel like I'm going to need glasses at some point, because both my parents needed glasses, but I haven't gotten it yet. I stare at a screen like all day, though. I've got to get glasses sometime in the future. It feels like it's going to happen, but so far my eyes work well enough. Should focus more on doing eye exercises also and looking off into the distance. No, my parents both need glasses, but so far, us 3 kids, getting by without glasses. I keep expecting I'll get them because I'm middle-aged now. That's usually when you start needing glasses, but no, eyes are okay so far. My wrist is a problem, but my eyes are okay. Just got other body stuff going on. And I'm like, is it aging? I don't know. It's happening though. I can't tell if my mouth is getting worse from that inflamed lymph node or not though. It seems kind of stuck in place right now. So, who knows? Like right now it's not too terrible. Not as bad as it's been in the past, but still not all the way good. Yeah, like if you don't want to get contacts, you don't have to. Glasses should be fine. Honestly, if I had to correct my vision, I think I would have to do glasses. I don't think I could bear to like put a thing on my eyeballs. I think that would wig me out too much. I do not like stuff near my eyes. Eye horror, like where something bad happens to your eyes, that's like one of my squicks. That's one of my I can't deal with that kind of horror things. I don't like bad things happening to eyes. Especially where you can like see it happening. Ugh, I don't know. So if I have to correct my vision, then yeah, I'll get glasses. But right now, I'm looking out across the street, and it does not look blurry. So I assume they're okay. Oh yeah, them fogging up, that can be a problem. I can see that. I guess both have their drawbacks. So wait, how expensive are reusable contacts? I imagine there's disposable ones. How expensive are the reusable ones? Yeah, the 20-minute rule. Every 20 minutes, get up, look at something for 20 seconds that's 20 feet away, I think is the rule. I gotta try and do that more often. I try when I'm like on my stretch break to, look out the window, look across the street, try and look at something that's a ways away. But no, that's definitely an issue. I think it's an issue for a lot of people. Same with my hearing, probably. Alright, I will be right back for one more stretch and other stuff. Oh, sheesh, that's a lot of money. Good grief. Ooh. Alrighty, I returned. Okay. Probably just do one more, maybe slightly longer session where we're going to work on backgrounds for a little while since we finished the color for this thing. Yeah, that'll be up at Halloween, which will be fun. Alright. Guess what? We're drawing. It's debris. Again. There's always tons of this to do, so let's do it. I wasn't sure how long it would take me to do the coloring for that, but I'm glad I was able to get that done. Well, it's too big. So now it's time to draw debris. Once again, we're back on our bullshit. So did you draw them in the outfits that were in that one newsletter? Where like Rouse had that big like cake dress, and Susie was dressed as Frankenstein's monster, and Chris was kind of dressed as like vampire, but they had like Eram's cloak and all that kind of stuff. You could draw them with that. Yeah, there we go. There we go. More stuff. Why was she dressed as Frankenstein monster, assembled from multiple people? Those are cute outfits for them, so you could do that. The parallels. But if that's the case, what's going on with Rouse? What does his costume mean? What does his costume mean? Yeah, zombie is also a good one for Chris, but yeah, I think in the newsletter they appeared as like kind of vampire or shadow figure, but they were wearing the shadow mantle. They were wearing Eram. What else? He's a fancy vampire. I'm a vegetarian vampire. No, not like that. Noelle was a witch. That's a good choice. Assuming you're not going for the usual standard of, Noelle's an angel, Chris is a devil kind of thing, but I feel like that's a... Now, what did you draw Susie as? Lancer was a ghost. Was he a little sheet ghost? He just have a sheet over him? Susie, check out my scary costume. It's so cool. He's a ghost. You should have Lancer in his very. Oh, okay. I thought it'd be cute as a sheet ghost. Should have him be in his disguise where he's wearing a mustache. I'm not Lancer. I'm a sad little boy. What does a sad little boy need a mustache for? As a disguise. Susie trying her best to be evil with Lancer, but the most they can do is like cool track jackets and all that stuff. Yeah, where'd my guy go? I'm like, Susie, you don't want to be evil, you just want to be included. She just wants to be included, and the bad guys were the only ones that were including her, so she's like, I'm gonna be included. Oh yeah, sheet ghost. Anybody made a sheet cake ghost? In whatever way that implies. Black cat, interesting. No, make her Frankenstein's monster. Like in the newsletter. And when are we gonna get another newsletter? No clue. Yeah, I doubt the story's headed in that direction, too. I doubt that. I don't think that's going to be the case. Christmas, I guess so. No, we already had one in September, so I think we've had our fall one. We're not going to get one for October. You think the newsletter will continue after Deltarune's release? It could. I imagine even after everything's out, you know, there's still other things to talk about. It may not be as frequent, though. Oh no, Twitch. But no, I don't think, you know, being half human makes Susie stronger or anything, because I don't think there's like a power scaling thing going on. I don't think that, you know, there's boss monsters that exist in Deltarune, for one. It literally is a thing of monsters and humans are both just different kinds of people. Especially in this universe where there's not implied to be a power imbalance between souls. If there is, they haven't mentioned it yet. So I'm going to assume until they mention it that monster-human souls functionally the same. Yeah, exactly. The focus is more on the difference between lightners and darkners and monsters and humans. Whereas darkners are objects, therefore quote-unquote not real. Lightners are people, therefore real. And Susie again challenges that. She's like, I don't care if you're an object, you're real to me. And I think she's supposed to be read as correct on that. I know, I still kind of wonder like how most Lightners would view like, you know, the dark world in terms of, you know, are these people that we care about or are these just, you know, other things? Toby Fox making a bold statement about marrying your waifu. I'm pretty sure he'd be like, well, that's none of my business. Yeah, I'll be totally I will be totally honest. I kind of think that boss monsters just exist in Undertale for gameplay purposes. I think that because if you think about like the rules behind boss monsters, it kind of starts to get a little weird, because it's like, okay, monster souls are different from human souls in that, you know, they will vanish immediately when you kill them, except for this one kind of monster that will have the soul stick around, you know, conveniently just long enough for a human to get it, so that, you know, you're not trapped in the underground forever, but, you know, it'll still vanish. And those monsters are also immortal, because we have to have them be around for the war that happened hundreds of years ago. But if they have a kid, then they start to age, and, you know, will die because their life force is growing into the kid. But if their kid dies, then they will stop aging. Like, it's all really arbitrary. It's clear that this was put in, like, at least to me, it feels very clear that this was put in specifically to make the story work. But yeah, it is a cool concept, and you can do a lot of fun stuff with it, for sure. But at least to me, it feels very clear that this is a concept that was put in to make the story work and the gameplay. And you know what? Nothing wrong with that. That feels just fine. It works for its purposes. Yeah, it could have had a lineage thing. But if you, like, stop and think about these rules, you know, just, you know, isolated for their own sake, it's kind of like, those are kind of weird. Why are some monsters like that? Like, huh? But again, it doesn't matter. The point of it is that these things exist for the purposes of the story. Yeah, I don't know. Like, can then boss monsters, you know, have regular kids with regular monsters? What happens with their kid? What is the lineage thing going on? It's something that we can play with in the fandom, you know, obviously. But that is why I think just there are no boss monsters in Eldritchrune. They just don't exist, because we don't need them to. They're not relevant to the story. I think if they were relevant to the story, we kind of would have found out about them by now, or at least gotten a mention of them. Like, by now we do know that, okay, monsters do turn to dust the same way they do in Undertale, which is interesting. They put emphasis on, hey, this happens the same way it does in Undertale, just so you know. We're going to remind you a couple times. If children had more kids, would you have died faster? Good question. But I think it'd be a little weird if, like, oh, by the way, also Toriel and Asgore are, like, secretly immortal, kind of. I definitely think they are less different than I was led to believe, but I do think there are still differences. Those differences do exist. Yeah, Asgore would be immortal. I don't think that's the case. And some of those differences are, you know, boss monsters don't exist. We just don't have those. You know, monsters can't use magic in the light world, although they can in the dark world, and humans can. Which I find kind of weird when you think about it, and might actually lend itself to the idea that, okay, monsters are made of some magical property that humans are not, or at least have some kind of, like, they're physical beings, but they have some kind of magical property to them, that's why they don't have blood. I'm like, okay, why can't humans use magic in the dark world, though? If this is supposed to be, you know, just a world of imagination, where, you know, you can do whatever you want that you can't do in the light world, then, like, humans have imagination too. They should be able to use magic. What do you mean Chris can't use magic? That's just kind of weird. Yeah, they're parallel stories. I don't think one is a prequel or a sequel to another. I mean, maybe so, but I feel like it would be mentioned. Okay, it's like, then here's another thing, like. Well, I guess the whole thing is, if once you have a boss monster kid, then they're effectively immortal, and like they grow up and then they're immortal. They kind of stay as young adult age forever. It does raise some questions. It's a bit overpowered, yeah. I think it's the kind of thing like, okay, is this necessary for the story of Deltarune? And I kind of think no. So I feel like the simplest explanation is that is one of the universe differences between Undertale and Deltarune. Is just there are no boss monsters. I feel like if you had like functionally immortal people in this regular world, that would have more of an impact on society a bit. Like they give out, special scholarships to boss monsters because, you're going to be functionally immortal. Becoming the infinite dictator of monster kind. So, again, some rules are definitely the same. Again, I feel like at this point there has to be some kind of magical property that, even if monsters are physical, is built into them because, one, how do you get monsters like, Napstablook working? Ghosts and slimes and elemental stuff like that. And, two, why are they still turning to dust when they die? That was a property of being magical. Maybe. We'll see what happens with the roaring, because I feel like it's not a good state to exist in. The ads! Gosh darn you, ads. I really like this song. I don't think it's religiously forbidden. I think if monsters could do magic, they would be using it. Especially for something like injury or illness, I can't imagine it's like, oh, well, we have the ability to magically fix illness, but we can't because our religion said no. The angel has spoken. I just can't see that happening. I think people will be like, well, I ain't following that religion anymore because, like, screw that. I want my father to be healed. Someone like Caddy explores the cult and doesn't go to church. I kind of feel like she doesn't go to church because she doesn't like to be around her family. Caddy, your family's actually not half bad, even if they're obnoxious. I think it'll be okay. I will say this as somebody who is raised in religion and, is religious. People will make exceptions for themselves all the time. It's not hard to justify, well, I know my religion says this, but I can make an exception for myself. Like, that happens all the time. And I especially think, again, if somebody was ill or injured, and you could fix that right away, they'd be like, well, I'm the exception, I'm gonna do it. So I feel like what we've learned here is, like, it's not that they can and they won't, it's that they can't. That is the impression I get from it anyway. Again, I think there must be some kind of magical property that they have. Because, again, maybe this explains why they don't have blood. This explains why some monsters are, like, physical, but also kind of nebulously so, like ghosts and elementals and stuff like that. Things that definitely would not have blood. This explains maybe why they can do magic in the Dark World and Chris can't. So some magical property to them, to their bodies, but they can't actually utilize it for anything, like, technical in the real world. Same way, like, we're made of water, but we can't water bend. We can't make water magically do whatever we want. Yeah, exactly. This is made up rules. And I feel like, especially after the anniversary scene where it's like, oh, by the way, even in Undertale's universe where, monsters and humans are way more naturally different than they are in Deltarune, they still were having marriages. They were still, like, in partnerships. It turns out, oh, actually, they're, like, their cultures were way more intertwined than I think a lot of fandom believed. And if that was the case in, like, Undertale, no reason why it can't be happening in Deltarune too, where it seems like they are on more of an equal level there. Mom hotline during fasting is like, today I slipped in a lamb shawarma and an apple with 2 liters of water fell into my mouth. Oops. That's pretty funny. Oops, it was an accident. Yeah, definitely I think the implication is that, like, yeah, this could be possible because, you know, their cultures are, you know, not, they're separate in a lot of ways, but not as much as I think people think. I slipped and healing misted my dad. Surely the angel tripped me. Alvin's just like, Noelle, honey, we don't do confession, but okay. Like, sure, the angel tripped you. That's fine. Noelle, the Inquisitors are coming. Noelle, you blasphemed. Noelle, we don't have sin, but we invented it just for this. Just to be a problem for you. Ugh, Walmarts are creepy even with the lights on, let alone with the lights off. Urban exploring stuff going on there. Also, tornadoes scare me. Ugh. I'm glad I don't live in tornado country. Oh, Harry Potter, your magic rules are really not that good. I mean, among other things, but you think about it and you're like, wait a minute. Society here. Wait a minute, your magic society kind of sucks. But I don't think that was necessarily all planned out very well in terms of world building. Thinking you may or may not need it. Again, in terms of world building, Toby's like, timeline? It happened around this point. Whatever. I don't like being around. I don't like being in a Walmart. Ugh. Blech. I'm gonna create one spell that kills you and 90 spells that are useless by comparison. I'm J.K. Rowling, and I'm gonna create magic that's basically, what if we had a gun? What if there was a gun that was magic and it was your wand, and we gave them to 11-year-olds? What if that? Heartwarming. All your favorite franchises have shit world building. True. People love to world build. World building is fun, but to be fair, when you're trying to make a narrative, world building is kind of not your priority so much. Yeah, that is the issue. Well, at least with Harry Potter's world. Like, usually when you have a magic system, it's like, okay, if you have a really powerful spell, or a really deadly spell, or time travel, or anything else that has big consequences, then either it's really difficult to cast, or, you know, there are some kind of major consequences to using it. Like, there's some kind of balancing thing in place to prevent you from, you know, doing this very dangerous spell all over the place. Harry Potter is basically, what if this wand was a gun? I'm sorry. Like, there's really not that much, like, balance in terms of, like, yeah, we can do all this stuff, and also this really powerful thing, and, there's really no, like, ropes on it to pull it back, which is why we had to destroy all the time turners. Because it turns out, oh, we just gave time travel to an 11-year-old, or 12-year-old. Yeah, they apply the consequences and never explore that. We broke all of time travel. Thanks, Neville. And the sad thing is, that was one of the better books. I liked the third book, but, again, as soon as we have to start applying consequences to that, it, of course I watched that Sean video. Like, yeah, of course I did. It's a good video. I think he just came out with a new one recently that was about a war on science book. That was pretty good. Oh, that's true. In book 5, he broke it. Still extremely funny, as pointed out. Yeah, exactly. It's this really difficult balancing act of like, okay, how much can you world build? Oh no, I have to actually, like, you know, build a narrative around that. I think Toby approaches it smartly in that he's like, okay, I'm really not going to worry about the timeline on this. What matters is, you know, the characters and the narrative. But it is difficult from, like, a fan perspective. Yeah, all of the Middle East has one wizarding school. Surely nothing will go wrong. Yeah, all of Japan, one wizarding school. You know, there's not that many, you know, wizards in, like, one of the most populous countries in the world. Yeah, the smartest thing Toby did was say everyone's right at the same time. He got it down. He got it right. Exactly, that is part of the problem. Especially if you're, like, writing a kid book and you didn't really think about it too hard. Because, again, you're thinking about the narrative. That is the most important part. But then, as a fan, you want to know more about the world building because that's fun and exciting to you. And oftentimes, from what the author has to be like is like, dude, I didn't think about it that far. I thought about it within the context of what was needed for the story. And that probably goes back to, again, boss monsters. Like, how does this work? Well, it works for what you need for the story. Yeah, a lot of it's aged like milk. It has. That's okay. There's lots of other, like, good fantasy stories out there. I'm reading a lot of good books. You know, I'm in the middle of T. Kingfisher book right now. The Sorceress Comes to Call. That's scary. Good book. Yeah. Go read. Read another book. Go read some T. Kingfisher. It's really good. And also, if you want a really good magic series, Earthsea. I really liked Earthsea. That was some really good stuff. Of course, Ursula K. Le Guin. Now that's some good, you know, fun dragons and magic and world building and stuff like that. It's a lot less marketable than Harry Potter, but it feels like more of a real world. Please go read Earthsea. It's really good. Yes, please go read Earthsea. What are some other ones? I kind of read Harry Potter fan fiction turned, like, you know, serial numbers filed off. I think it was called, like, Young Wizards, and that was fun because it was, you know, they made it gay. it was fun. But yeah, no, go read Earthsea. Go read some T. Kingfisher. Heck, recently I read Watership Down. That was really fun. Now I want more xenofiction. I want more, like, animal fiction. Give me some good animal fiction. Some xenofiction. Oh, interesting. I want to see some talking trains, yeah. Yeah, Watership Down was really good. I was just enraptured with it. I was kind of like, ooh, this is fun. And then I was like, oh, no! Hazel, no! You know, it was good. Yeah, you get a really good fantasy novel if, like, you get somebody with a big hyperfixation and they're just going to throw that into you. Like, that was basically why Lord of the Rings took off so much, was like, J.R.R. Tolkien is like, I need somewhere to put all of my fake languages. I'll just invent a world for them. Here we go. You know? And then it became one of the most beloved fantasy novels. Like, please, my hyperfixations. Where am I going to talk about the fake the languages I invented? Please. Yeah, recommend me some good xenofiction. I really like Watership Down, and I'm like, I need more. I need more animal perspective books. Although once I finish this T. Kingfisher book, I might try some classic horror. I'm like, okay, you know, I've never read Moby Dick. I've never read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Or, you know, Dracula. It's Dracula Daily's coming around, so maybe I'll try and look up some classics. We never Al-Bed type languages. Yeah, I think a lot of people like to invent languages, and I'm kind of the same way with my stuff, without being like a linguist and really, really getting to the nitty-gritty of how like a language works. Series of kids' books about a mouse. Probably a lot. You mean Redwall? Are you thinking of Redwall? 'Cause I read Redwall religiously when I was a kid. Redwall was my jam. I loved Redwall. Oh my goodness. That was my first like long comic series. I basically took the first Redwall book and I turned it into a comic. I think I still have it somewhere. My parents have it somewhere. But literally I transcribed the novel into comic format. Oh yeah, I've read Bone. Absolutely. I have the complete collection of Bone. Bone is great, and I'm super mad that Netflix is like, no, we're not going to do the series after all. Well, screw you, Netflix. But no, Bone is awesome. I was introduced to Bone through Disney Adventures. That was the little magazine I subscribed to as a kid. And they were running like colorized versions of Bone in Disney Adventures, and that's what got me hooked on Bone. Yeah, Disney Adventures, that was so fun. I got like the first. I think I gave away all my copies because, you know, I had a big box and I'm like, I can't keep these. I can't like take these with me when I move. But I had it from the first issue. Ooh, Undertale voices. Good luck. I gotta stop soon anyway. My wrist needs some breaks, and it's almost time for lunch. But yeah, Disney. That was where I was introduced to Bone, was Disney Adventures, and I have the full collection of Bone. That is another classic. Please read Bone. That is a graphic novel. Also, if we're talking like xenofiction comics, I have Ursula Vernon's full series of Digger. Digger is great. Please read Digger. It's about a wombat who gets involved with gods and demons and stuff like that. I try and draw with my shoulder, but you know, it's not perfect. I think most of the action is in the forearm and the wrist, but you are supposed to draw from the shoulder more. It's a little bit better for you. Yeah, full comic series I own. I own all of Bone. I own all of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. That was another really good one. I have all of Nausicaa. I have some Black Sad. And what were we just talking about? Yeah, I have all of Digger. Got a lot of anthology comics. I really like anthology comics. I like seeing how people take a theme and tackle it different ways. With a wide variety of art styles and writing styles. I feel like Disney Afternoon or Disney Adventures magazine changed a lot over the course of time, and it started becoming thinner. For one thing, they put less stuff in it, which made me sad, because they used to be like nice, thick, like kind of Reader's Digest style magazines. Like there was a lot of content in them, and then it just kind of got less and less as they went on. Because they could get away with it. Yeah, now that I think about the comparison, yeah, Disney Adventures was basically like Disney Reader's Digest for kids. As in, like, it has comics, it has little written essays and stuff like that. It's got, you know, wide variety of regular returning bits. So, it was good. It was good stuff. I was definitely a Disney kid growing up. I watched a lot of Disney Afternoon. Gargoyles! That was my jam when I was a kid. I think I still have the first season on DVD for Gargoyles. Didn't get the second season, but It's good stuff. I know we watched through the first and second seasons on voice chat for my Discord server a while back. So I'm like, I'm gonna introduce you all to Gargoyles. We're watching it. The other comics. I think I have the first book of Lackadaisy. Because that was a webcomic before it's now an animated series that Glitch is doing. Glitch has their hands in everything. Not that I'm complaining. Lackadaisy is a fun series to do. I was just so impressed with the amount of like art that goes into Lackadaisy. So much research involved for that. Beautiful renderings. Beautiful renderings. Oh, Lackadaisy, yeah. That was a webcomic before it became an animated series. It's been running for a long time, too. I want to say over a decade at this point. Oh, but they can't fix the machine. My whole thing is like, okay, if you're going to do an Undertale animated series, the way I would do it is you can't adapt the actual story of the game. The player is too important to that experience. So just don't even have Frisk at all. It won't work if it's just like that. It won't work. What I think would work, yeah, don't cover the events of the game. What I think would work for an animated series is just like basically a post-canon deal, like basically the winter newsletters, where we just see the characters hanging out and, you know, bouncing off each other and having fun. No Frisk, just the monster characters like being sillies. I think that's the only way you could get that to work. I don't think they should do an animated series. I don't think Toby wants to. But if you were going to do it, that is how you should do it, and you would not adapt the actual game. Because it wouldn't have worked to adapt the game. Let's see. Alright, I think we'll do one more panel, and then we'll call it, because I gotta take a break. From Sharon Asriel's story. That could work. That could perhaps be interesting. Just shows how they, you know, became friends/siblings and grew up together. Give us some more Kara backstory, because goodness knows. Yeah, you don't need to adapt the actual game itself. Basically, the only adaptation that will work is one that is not the game. You put those characters into new situations. It can be situations that we know happened and we haven't seen them yet. It can be new situations that are just fun and silly. You can't do the actual story of the game. Fan-made Laserdisc point-and-click remake. That'd be cool. Not gonna lie, that would slap. Yeah, I feel like definitely... I do definitely at least... I was so interested by the fact that, you know, we have one person left to save, Kara, and it's like, oh, this is who it's been about the whole time. Oh, yeah, like, that is fascinating. I feel like... One, I feel like what Toby was trying to say with some of that was, hey, you know, Kara actually was, you know, somebody worth caring about. They were not a demon or a devil. They were a kid. They were somebody that, you know, Asriel deeply missed and wanted to reunite with, even if they were not a very good person. But just, you know, trying to drive that point home. And two, like, hey, all of the stuff was here. It was never not here. Even if you couldn't see it, all you have to do is use your imagination and, you know, basically discover as much as you want. Go make 500 skeletons. Please go expand. Be creative with this world. The target of the save command is Asriel, but it is interesting that, like, you know, once that happens, we go back to, you know, when Kara fell into the underground. Maybe it's them saving each other after what happened to them. Basically, I feel like the two things that Toby was trying to get across was, one, use your imagination, take things as far as you possibly want, and two, don't assume the worst. I find it interesting that, you know, he was, you know, kind of defensive of Kara. I will shoot rainbow laser beams out of my hands to spin one more time with them, and also just the whole lore dump of, hey, monsters and humans used to get along better even before the war. You know, the lines were, you know, not so clear cut. Again, use your imagination, explore, don't assume the worst. I feel like those were the lessons that we were supposed to learn from that. Good lessons, too. Also, the defenses of Alfie's, my girl. Okay, it is almost noon, which means it's time for me to stop and stretch and get lunch and do other things today. Wah! But this has been a pretty good session. Again, we got the thumbnail art done, nice and colored, and got into a few more backgrounds for crazy debris that I gotta keep drawing. Yeah. Still, I appreciate that line. Like, poor Asriel. Poor kid! Moment before Asriel had a moment of clarity. But yes, it's been fun. We got some nice color art done. That'll be up at Halloween, so still a bit of a ways away. I'm like, it's only the 12th? Good grief. But glad I got it done early, because I wasn't sure how much time I would have for that. So that's done. And probably next week we'll be back to more Eldritchrune of some kind. Either stuff for the ending or stuff for the Tenna boss battle. Probably ending stuff, because I don't think I'll get to Tenna boss battle stuff in time. I know, this year is going by so fast. Oh my goodness. But thank you guys so much for coming and chatting with me. It's been super fun. There will be more Mother 3 on Friday, since we're getting close to the end of that too. And yeah, next Sunday, more Eldritchrune work. So, thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and that the next week goes well for you. Alright, thanks. Yeah, thanks so much for coming. And I will see you all next time. Alrighty, see you later.